Miami's youth movement has potential, but will they realize it here in Miami? We look at Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez in today's season preview and how each player can make an impact next year and if they can survive a potential trade for Damian Lillard. Can Jovic be a star? Is Jaime ready to play? We debate that and more on today's episode of Locked On Heat.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat. I'm Wes Goldberg. Joining me as always, David Ramil. However, you might be tuning in, YouTube, Odyssey, or your favorite podcast app. Thanks so much for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. We're in the middle of our player season preview series. We'll be asking the big question facing each player, look at their best and worst case scenarios for the season, decide if they're going to be in or out of the rotation, and look ahead to what we'll be saying about them this time next year before deciding what Cheesecake Factory item represents them the best. And we're talking about the young kids, Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez today. On the last episode, we talked about Kevin Love and Caleb Martin, who were obviously options at power forward and forward in general. Jovic and Jaquez, also options for the Heat at forward. But their roles are a little bit more up in the air. What's your big question? Let's start with Jovic. What's your big question facing Nikola Jovic?
But even before answering that, I mean, we have to acknowledge the real possibility that neither of them might be on the roster. And
Right.
So for a lot of people listening, that's not to say that they won't. They may be on the roster. We have no idea what's going to happen with Damian Lillard. It seems likely that he'll be here. They might play for a number of months. Nothing is yet to be finalized. But while they're here, you want to be aware of what they might be able to bring to the table. So for me, the question is, and maybe it's getting ahead of myself, but can Nikola Jovic, is he a future star? I know I say that half jokingly, but I want to see some flourish from him. I know we've seen bits and pieces of it over this offseason. He's had a great run in some stretches of Las Vegas and Summer League. Then he's had some great ones in the FIBA World Cup. Can he be a star-level player? Just, again, a guy with some flourish. Maybe not superstar. And star is overstating it. I'll be the first to admit it. But I just want to see something with some panache, some style to that position because he is so talented and so versatile. I'd like to see some of that demonstrated next season in Miami.
I love that you're drinking the Kool-Aid on Nikola Jovic after the FIBA World Cup. I mean, he looks great. There's no doubt about it. My question is he ready?
Yeah.
Is he ready? I think it's great that what he's doing for Serbia in the World Cup. And Serbia is not they're in the Final Four. They're a great team. There's legitimately like NBA high-end international players on that roster.
Yeah.
And Jovic is among their top 5 players in minutes played. They're looking at him to score and to play make, and that means something.
Absolutely.
But it's still not the NBA, man. It's still not the NBA. And I just wonder, is he ready? Is he ready to play a meaningful role, understanding that he's going to be playing whatever role he is? It's going to be less than what he's playing for Serbia. Can he star in a smaller role? And that's a hard thing to do with fewer minutes and less kind of runway to do stuff and less space to experiment and explore your game. Can he just figure out what it is that he does well at an NBA level and then do that over and over and over again? And that's really what makes an NBA player an NBA player. Is he ready to do that? Is he ready to make that step? That's my question. I think yes. I really do. And that kind of leads me to my best case scenario. He's a value add on offense that can make plays on defense. I don't think he'll be a positive defender at this stage of his career going into his second year in the NBA. But I like his ability to kind of jump passing lanes, run in transition, run the break, and do those kinds of things and be a player who could score off of turnovers, which is kind of Miami's best form of offense right now before any kind of Damian Lillard trade. So to me, he's a value add on offense that spaces the floor, can play make, can do things, make quick decisions. He can make plays situationally on defense, and he carves out a role on that second unit as kind of a key figure in that unit.
Well, I have it a little higher than that. I think he can emerge as a starter, and I think he can show glimpses of being that kind of perfect complement to Bam. So much of what Bam is asked to do is be the hub on both defense and offense. Bring the ball up, initiate, set screens, get guys going. It's a lot of work for one guy. And everybody's saying, why can't he put up 25 to 28 points per game? Well, that's why. It's because he's being tasked for doing so much. And I don't think there are many players, if any, that have been shouldered with that kind of responsibility over the last few seasons. It's much more specified type game. And with Jovic, if he could bring the ball up, if he could be that guy who is an initiator, if he could be the guy who can kind of space the floor a little bit when he gets to his spots in the corners, etc., then that would be taking a load off of Bam so he could be the kind of defensive anchor that we expect him to be, the more aggressive offensive player that he should and can be.
So you're higher on him, I think, as a potential starter than I am. I don't really see, because with these best case scenarios, we're trying to be realistic, right? And you realistically see a world in which Jovic starts, and I don't see it. I'd be happy to be wrong on this. I would be, but I don't really see that for him in his second year.
Is he more athletic than Kevin Love? Is he more athletic than Kevin Love?
I mean, no doubt. Athletic, no doubt. Yeah.
At 20 years old, I want to see Miami do something different. And I've been banging this drum for a while. I just think sometimes they wind up getting so set and like doing it our way. And it's not to say that Spo doesn't change things up or get a little, but he does get stale sometimes in his approach of roster building and using those players. And you've got a guy here with great potential. You drafted him, use him. And he's a 20-year-old playmaker, a point guard who just happens to have the size of a typical center in today's NBA. He's put on the weight. He's put on the muscle. He's done everything that you've asked him to do. Let him take those first steps.
I agree with you on that. I think he's big enough to play. Like I'm not really worried about the weight, the muscle, the mass, any of that stuff anymore. He looks like it's different, right? It's based on his rookie year. He could play. I just think as a player on that second unit going against opposing benches, I think he could be like a star for that second unit. I don't know that he could do that in that first unit. I think he'd be just better used and better served by being a part of the second. That said, what's his worst case scenario?
Worst case scenario, that he takes a step back from what he was in the offseason and kind of loses confidence, and he just winds up being another European player that might never find his footing culturally, as a player, athletically, etc., in the NBA.
That the NBA is still overwhelming. That's kind of what I have, and I think we're saying the same thing there. Yeah. And that he suffers another back injury and it derails the season. Look, he's going through this FIBA World Cup thing. He's young. He's 20. I'm not concerned about him the way that I would be concerned about a 30-year-old playing in a tournament in the offseason and then going to play in the NBA season. But look, he had a back injury his rookie year. It was related to the growth spurt that he had previous to that and things like that. So it's not like, to me, and from everybody I talk to, it's not like a chronic it's not a worry that it's a chronic injury.
Right.
But he's still a big man. And you've always got to be worried about this with big men.
It's not a lower leg injury, though. Those are the kinds of things that,
for sure,
for a big man get worse, like Kristaps Porzingis, etc.
But that's the worst case scenario for him, is that the NBA is overwhelming. There's another injury, and like he just never finds his footing, and he's just sort of out of the rotation and a non-factor.
Yeah.
In out TBD of the rotation.
I think he's in. I think he's a player with potential, and it's just finding a way to maximize him either as a starter or as a bench player.
I have him as in. And I think he's gonna. I think I'm high on Jovic. Maybe not as high as you on Jovic. You think he's gonna make the All-Star game this year, but I've got him.
I might be overstating it just a little bit, but
I got him as in the rotation. I think he's gonna be a part of that second unit. I like him with like Kyle Lowry and him running like a fast break offense, and that's like I like it. Him and Thomas Bryant or Orlando, Duncan Robinson. It makes sense to me. It works. There's flow. Like, just be European. Be as European as possible in that second unit. And I think Jovic could thrive. And I think it would be
I still see Kyle starting, though. That's the whole thing. It's just, I don't know.
There's so many things up in the air, and that's why we're doing this whole series. But we're going to talk about Jaime Jaquez Jr. next. Can he make an immediate impact the way that a rookie did last year for the team that won the championship? We're going to talk about that next year on Locked On Heat. Today's episode of Locked On Heat is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Look, I love my Bird Dogs. They make me look good. They have these stretch khaki shorts designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and the leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. To put it another way, Bird Dog shorts do the same thing that Lululemon shorts do, but they fit better They're way better than regular shorts that are made of that stiff, restricting cotton. You don't want that, especially not in the summer heat, not in Miami. Bird Dogs fixes the issue by inventing a cloud knit fabric that looks just like khaki, but stretches so you get a way slimmer fit without sacrificing movement. Look, you love your favorite pair of basketball shorts that you wear around the house. They're as comfortable as those, but you can like go in public in them and be seen. That's the pitch. That's the whole sales pitch. Plus, Bird Dogs uses anti-stink sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long. Trust me, get yourself a pair. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA or enter the promo code LockedOnNBA at checkout for a free Bird Dogs water bottle with your order. That's birddogs.com/LockedOnNBA for a free water bottle at checkout. You're not going to want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first to listen every day. Let's talk about the rookie, Jaime Jaquez Jr.
Before we do that, can we not wear basketball shorts out in public? Is that a thing now?
It's a faux pas.
Ooh. So if I go out, say, like in a sleeveless shirt with a bathrobe, my basketball shorts is like Crocs, is that like a bad look? Because
I might give you money.
I'm going for the Jeffrey Lebowski look. I didn't realize that was a bad thing now.
Start talking about rugs.
Yeah, really tie the room together.
What's your big question facing Jaime Jaquez Jr.?
Oh, man. I know it's a big expectation, so I don't really think that these are the shoes that he can fill as a rookie. But how much is he really like Jimmy Butler? We saw the player comparisons. We've heard the idea is that he's going to be an energy player, a mix of athleticism, just chases after it, doesn't give up, always brings his best, plays through injury. A badass, kind of like Jimmy Butler, but out of a collegiate mode. Is that really the case? Is that going to translate to the NBA level? That remains to be seen.
Can he make an immediate impact? That's my big question. Is you see these guys who are quote unquote NBA ready, and when we talk in the draft, right? When we talk about scouting, this guy's NBA ready. That's code for he doesn't have a ceiling that's very high, and he might not be a good NBA player.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like NBA ready means that he just is what he is right now. And if he ain't good now, he's not going to be good ever. That's basically what that translates to. And the thing around Jaime Jaquez Jr. was this guy is the most NBA ready player in the draft.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make me feel good. That gives me pause. That said, I like him. I do like him. And so to answer my own question, I think he will make an immediate impact. And this goes to the best case scenario. I think he could be Miami's Christian Braun. Christian Braun he wasn't sixth man for Denver as a rookie, but he played a role off the bench and he was impactful. He was there. He made those energy plays. He was doing the things that he had to do. I see Jaquez in that mold. He's a gamer. I love what I saw at UCLA. He's got a competitive streak that really matters to me, and I think is what attracted the Miami Heat to him in the first place. I don't think it's I really believe it when they say, you talk to people in Miami, did you draft him because he's 22 when he played 4 years and he's ready to go and you're trying to win a championship right now? And they say, look, it really isn't because he's 22. That's what they'll tell you. It's like, but there's just like a thing with him that they like. And I think that thing it's intangible, but I think it's that competitive streak. It's like, put him in the game. He'll figure out something and he'll figure out a way to play and figure out a way to make an impact. And that's kind of what Christian Braun did for the Denver Nuggets, and they won a championship. And he played a good role for them in the NBA Finals. I think Jaquez could make a similar role.
Too soon to bring up the Braun comparison. Yeah, the Braun comparison. So after he toasted, he got toasted by Duncan Robinson, and then he wound up paying everybody back the following game. That was not great. I like the idea of that, being an impactful player. Just you don't have to take over. That's what other stars on this roster are for. And if you're still here after a Damian Lillard trade, you don't even have to worry about scoring. Do the dirty work. Do the little things that show up in a box score. You're going to ingratiate yourself.
He's a good rebounder. He boxed out at UCLA. I like all that stuff.
Yeah, no doubt. My best case scenario to me is a high energy impact player off the bench. That's really, I think, the ideal role for him is just finding a way to provide a spark.
I don't want to sell him short either, because he's also the kind of player that I think he's going to be a streaky shooter for a few years. He can have some big games in the regular season, right? There's going to be games, I think, best case scenario, where Jaquez scores like 24 points.
Ooh.
And you're just like, whoa, what's going on here? Because
Ooh.
he went like 4 or 5 from 3-point range or something.
Maybe like one of
Best
those
case
weird
scenario.
games where somebody gets hurt and he winds up being in the starting lineup, one of those, lost December, January games that nobody really seems to pay attention to.
Or even off the bench, and he just ends up playing 28 minutes and closes the game because Spo's just like, let's just let this ride. You know
Somebody's
what I mean?
in foul
Like,
trouble. Yeah.
like I think they're good. Like, best case scenario, he's the kind of guy that could do that. We saw that in Summer League, by the way. Yeah. Like, he was like, I'm going to score 30 points or I might score 8 points. Like, it was sort of like that for him. Worst case scenario.
He looks lost out there, and he can't handle NBA level speed and or athleticism.
That's what I have. And then he struggles to crack the rotation. I have the same exact thing. In, out, TBD.
Tough one.
It is.
I hate to go there, but I think he's out. I think he just
really.
I think, yeah. For one, because I don't even know if he's going to be on the roster. For two, I just think you've got other options out there with Caleb, and you're still trying to figure it out. I think if they had to decide right now, he could have a monster camp. So I'm leaving that door wide open. And again, I'm a believer. I think he can be a great player. But you've got Haywood Highsmith, who they've already invested that time in, and they're going to give him a better look opportunity. I don't know where Jaquez steps up and outplays Haywood Highsmith, nor does he outplay Caleb Martin. And that being the case, what's his role? Where is he going to play? You've already got other questions in terms of like lack of size and things of that sort. You don't have a lot of point guards. He's not going to bring the ball up. He's not going to initiate offense. So he's not really that option there. I just don't see it.
I think he can run some offense off the bench. I don't know that, like,
not the NBA level.
No, I don't think they would inbound to him, but I think he can like grab a rebound and then bring it up. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
So and then just sort of run like an impromptu pick and roll with Thomas Bryant or Orlando Robinson.
And this is okay. Out isn't bad. Let him get a year's worth of seasoning.
It's interesting. I think I'm higher on Jaquez than you are, and I think you're higher on Jovic than I am.
It's possible.
I think that's where we're at here. I have him as in. I think maybe, look, I might be wrong here and
so
whatever, but like, I think he's gonna play. I think he'll always play. I don't know how many minutes. It might be 10 minutes a game. I just think, like, you don't draft him the way that you drafted Nikola Jovic, and you're like, this guy's a long-term project. Let's figure it out. With Jaquez, you're like, he is what he is. If he's not playing now, he's not gonna play. Like, it's like he's not gonna get. I don't think this is the kind of, he could get better, certainly, obviously, but I don't think he's gonna like transform. You know, I just think if you draft him to be part of the rotation. They wanted wing length, depth, versatility, and that's why they drafted him.
I just think
I think you have to play him.
I just think of what happened the last time Miami took a chance in a second round on a 4-year player. That was Josh Richardson, and they really, they invested time in him eventually, but he spent a lot of that first half of the season not playing. There was no need there, a different roster.
And the second half of the season, he led the league in 3-point shooting percentage.
Yes, but also remember who wound up going down with a kidney injury in the second half of the season. So opening up an opportunity for him. You don't want injury or a loss of a player to be what gives Jaquez that next chance. So I don't see how he can crack this line. He's going to need some seasoning, and I think once he gets it, he's going to be a really good NBA player.
He's competing with who? Like Caleb and Highsmith for minutes?
Yeah.
Right?
Maybe even Jovic. Because he's a 3-4, right?
Yeah, there's some people that think that he's like potentially a starting power forward. I don't see that for him. That's not his destiny as a rookie.
Definitely, yeah.
But I could see him backing up Jimmy Butler and playing a role and having a couple of big games. But yeah, we'll see. All right, what are we talking about when we talk about Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez in 2024? Will we even be on the Heat? Will we even be talking about them at all? That's the conversation we're gonna have after this. Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Make sure that you're subscribed on YouTube and on your favorite podcast app. Before we get to what Cheesecake Factory menu item Nikola Jovic and Jaime Jaquez. Do you think Nikola Jovic has ever been to a Cheesecake Factory?
No.
Jaquez has been. He's a Southern California guy. They're all over the place there.
I don't know. I thought, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I thought he came from maybe more of a upper income kind of family background, and that being the case, I don't know that they're going to hit up the Cheesecake Factory very often. I might be wrong.
Hey, if you're shopping at the mall during the holiday season, Sometimes there's a Cheesecake Factory there.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with it. That's open to everybody. NBA players making NBA money can go to Cheesecake Factory. That means anybody else can.
And they do. That's why we're doing it as a segment. I don't know that Jovic has ever been to a Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, I've kind
of he comes from Serbia and then Miami, and I don't know where there is a Cheesecake Factory in any of those places.
There's not one downtown. He strikes me as a guy who's probably living downtown. I think he's sold his that. Yeah, he's got a car now. He's living down. I could see him kind of being. He's not even old enough. Like he's not going to get a drink there. So what is he driving around?
That's right.
He's going to drive from downtown Miami to what? Aventura? That's the closest Cheesecake Factory. Like, I mean, I don't even know.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So I don't see him hopping in his car in the middle of the off season. It's certainly not this one where he's between Vegas, traveling to Serbia for the World Cup. Training with his national
We'll ask
team.
him in media day. Yo,
for sure.
Hey, Nikola, have you ever been to a Cheesecake Factory? He's like, what's a Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah.
Like, all right, good answer.
Or I would be like, no. Bang Bang Chicken and Shrimp, my favorite. I would love that. I'd be like, what the? What?
Have my bed.
Yeah.
I own one. I make $3 million a year.
I'm bringing them to Serbia. He's going to open them up in my hometown.
I'm a franchisee. Like, speaking of Nikola Jovic, what's our question that we're asking about Nikola in 2024?
Not a question so much as a statement, but I'm glad Miami kept him despite the Dame Lillard trade.
Oh, so we're both thinking along the same lines. I think after this World Cup, the Blazers are going to demand Nikola Jovic in a trade, and the Heat are going to have to put him in there.
Yeah.
And here's my 2024 question. Did the Trailblazers win the Damian Lillard trade?
Incendiary.
I'm being a little facetious there, but I think he's good, man. I think he's good.
Yeah.
What do we our question about Jaime Jaquez?
I just realized again, we were talking about being higher on Jovic and lower on Jaquez. My statement again is, I guess now we know why he stayed at school for 4 years. Damn, that was harsh. I wrote this a couple days ago. Man, sorry. I'm a fan. I believe. I don't know why I'm leaning really negative.
I literally have in 2024. Can he be Miami's best player off the bench? Like we're so opposite.
Polar opposites, yeah.
I like him, man. I like
I
guys who are just dogs, man. This is why I cover the Miami Heat. I just this is how you know that I'm indoctrinated. It's like, do you have that much talent?
Okay. A question I was wondering: does he get into a fight his rookie year, like on a court?
Into a fight?
Yeah, like a scuffle, an altercation. Does he go too far and elbow somebody in a way? A vet comes like, "What you do?"
I think he does the fake hold me back thing. I think that'll happen.
I think it'll be the other way around. I think he's going to elbow somebody who's going to get pissed off that this guy throwing bows this way as a rookie.
Who on the Heat now is the designated holder in the hold me back scenario? Because it was Udonis Haslem for the last decade. He was always the guy that come off the bench. He's like, "Hey, all right, young fella, let's go." Like, I understand you're upset, so am I.
You
think it's Kevin Love?
Yeah, he's big enough. I think he's just.
I think it's either Kevin Love or Bam. You need somebody big, just generally. You need the bigger guy to do it. I think it's Kevin Love or Bam.
Oh, and then another question on Jaquez. How soon before he shaves the locks off? Because I could see him kind of going with the buzz cut look.
Because it's in Miami. He might just be like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. I mean, he's a SoCal guy. I mean, it's not as humid there as it is here.
You can't go with that hair. You can't go with that hair at the NBA level, There are so few white guys that could pull it off. I'm trying to think. When was the last night? I know, was it Drew Timme, right? Where he has the hair like that. I don't even know if he wound up cutting it or not.
He's Mexican.
No, hey, it has nothing to do with nationality. I just don't think that you can have that hair. Like, you're going to pull it off the ponytail? I don't know.
I think it's his look. I don't know. I like the mustache. I like the pirate thing that he's got going on.
He probably looks like he's 12. If he shaves, he probably looks like he's 12. Yeah,
you don't want that, especially in Miami. You want to get served. I mean, he's already 22. It's fine. That's why they drafted him.
4 years.
All right, let's head to the Cheesecake Factory. Nikola Jovic.
Oh man,
what Cheesecake Factory menu item?
These are getting harder and harder for me to pick out here. I went with a California omelet. A little bit of everything. Good start to your career. Good start to your day. You get a California omelet. But this one.
What's in a California omelet? Avocado?
Yeah, avocado, peppers, onions, mushrooms, kind of cheeses, that kind of thing.
Farm to table.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? I did not know this, but the Cheesecake Factory served all day. Breakfast served all day at the Cheesecake Factory.
Of course it is. Everything's served all the time there.
Yeah, exactly. They must have like 30 chefs in the background. And it's like, oh, make this. It's like, I've never made that before in my life. Yeah. Does somebody specialize in sandwiches? Is there just a flatbread pizza guy? I don't know. It's interesting.
I've got them as buffalo wings.
Too spicy.
Well, so here's the thing with buffalo wings. They could either be amazing or they could be like the worst thing. Like a good buffalo wing, crispy, good hot sauce. It's like maybe the best thing on the menu. You could go to some like sports bars and you're like, these buffalo wings are amazing. It's the best thing on the menu. Why would you order anything else on the menu? And then sometimes you get these buffalo wings and they come out. They're not fried enough. They're kind of rubbery on the outside. The hot sauce isn't good. There's no flavor. It's a little too oily. It's not any good. And you're like, what am I even doing here? It's a couple places I'm thinking about here.
Oh, you gonna name names?
I'm not naming names in case of future advertising opportunities. But there's some places in Miami that are doing them wrong. And I just want to say that. If you have good buffalo wings, hit me up. Let me know. I would like to try them.
Best wings in Miami. The sports wing, the sports grill, right? That's the best wings in Miami. And they even have a Miami Heat flavor. That's pretty good.
Allegedly.
It's been a while. I haven't had a wing in a while, but from what I remember, that was a pretty good wing. Charcoal. Yeah, very good.
They leave the tail on, I think.
Leave the tail on?
Not the tail, because chickens, you know what I mean? The little...
No, I do not know what you're talking about here. I mean, it's not shrimp. You leave the tail on.
The thing that's like, you have what's it called?
I don't know, man. You're scaring me. I don't know where you're getting your wings from. That sounds a lot shadier than anything else.
At the end of the wing part, you have the flat and the drumstick. At the end of the flat part of the wing, they do at Sports Grill. They do the whole wing.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, the actual wing.
It's like the actual tail.
Wing. Yeah, I don't like.
Well, I guess it's technically the wing. Yeah. It is. You live the wing on. It's not a tail. Anyway.
Yeah, no. If they're mixing a tail in there, you're eating chicken ass, dude. Sorry, that's not a buffalo wing. I don't know where you're getting
inflation, tough times. You got to serve the ass.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing with Jovic. You can either be chicken ass or you can be great buffalo wings. That's the thing. I have no idea what to expect. Jaime Jaquez.
I said Jimmy Butler was a cheesecake, so Jaime Jaquez is the low-licious cheesecake. Apparently, it's something on the menu. No carbs, no sugar, no gluten. What the hell is it? I don't even know what it is.
It's an empty plate.
Yeah, is that an actual cheesecake? Again, it sounds really harsh, but I don't know. I mean, the comparison that Jimmy Butler has us kind of incentivized to see whether or not he's a great player, but I don't know if that's reality. So we'll see.
I got him as crab wontons.
The crab rangoon.
Yeah, the crab rangoons, the crab wontons is how they are crab rangoons. But they label them crab wontons on the menu. They're off the new menu. They're a new menu item. They could be great. They could be a keeper, or they're not. I don't know.
Who knows?
That's the thing with Jaime Jaquez. Look, a good crab rangoon, I'm down.
Things of that nature. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not the star of the show, but you kind of have it, and you're like, I like that I have this, right? It could be awful, and you're like, this doesn't even deserve to be on the table.
Yeah, it's so hard to tell with. I haven't been to a Cheesecake Factory in years, but I can't remember ever having a bad experience there. I know some people kind of look down their nose at it because it's whatever.
I think I am a little bit like looking down. I think you're higher on the Cheesecake Factory than I am. I think, yeah.
Are you a food snob? Have you turned?
I'm a snob about everything. Yeah, I'm a snob about everything.
You're Wingstop. You get 2 weeks in a row of Wingstop.
What's the problem?
Yeah. Okay, so that's where we draw the line here. Cheesecake Factory, you're a trashy place, but Wingstop, now you're talking.
Hey, you did the wings well.
Ooh la la, fancy. It's Wingstop, yeah.
I side with Rick Ross at all times. At all times.
There you go.
Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Follow us on your favorite podcast app. David, I'll see you at the Cheesecake Factory.
And now I want wings, not chicken.